Hey guys, I'm Jacob and this is the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. Our main topic of discussion today is going to be douchebag coward cops. And we're also going to talk about what it means to support the thin blue line. Now, as usual, let me try and, here we go, see my own video so I can follow comments and stuff. Now, clearly, the topic tonight, a little controversial, guys. And what I want to explain to you is I support the thin blue line. In fact, I've sent slings out to some police officers and done some marketing with them and worked with law enforcement stations. And this is an election shirt for our local sheriff, and he's a good guy. Recently, in the last mega publicized shooting, a cop stood outside for, I believe, 6 minutes, never went in when he heard shooting, and then afterwards resigned. 3 main topics that I want to mention about that. Number one, you need to realize that cops are people. So even if 50% of cops are douchebags, you're going to have your percentage of douchebag to patriot to straight up nice guy is going to be about the same as almost anywhere else. So if you paint all cops with one brush stroke, you're just as ignorant as anybody who paints all races with one brush stroke or anything else. And the only thing that can be painted with a broad brush stroke is communists. So, we are talking about a coward piece of trash cop. But what you need to realize, and what this should also point out, cops have no obligation to save your life. No obligation to protect you from harm, as ruled by the Supreme Court. So all of you people that think that just cops should have guns, or that a cop is going to come save you, he might see your peril and put your life as a higher priority than his to his family and children. But he might not, and he doesn't have to, and he can sit there and watch you die. And it's not his deal. So as this world becomes more and more stupid, instead of looking to try and give away more of your personal responsibilities in the hopes that someone else will take them up because you're too much of a dirty little communist coward to protect yourself, and yet you hope that somebody else is not only courageous enough to protect themselves, but to put their lives and families on the line for you, the dirtbag coward who won't protect themselves. Maybe you should think instead, being that anybody who with any rational thought at all knows that the guns are not going to be taken out of the streets or the hands of criminals, maybe I should protect myself. And thusly, your concept of self-defense in the Second Amendment will change a little bit. Not that is what the Second Amendment is about. So, the first point, not all cops are the same. And don't trust a cop to put everything on the line to save your butt, because the cop that you're dealing with might be a stand-up constitutionalist, freaking right-wing, freedom-loving patriot of a dude who will put everything on the line to do what's right. Or he might be a slimy douchebag who's looking for ways to put drugs and money in his back pocket while enforcing the law and making himself feel really cool about himself. Second thing to take from this: nobody takes responsibility for what your well-being or your children's well-being. So you need to learn how to defend yourself and your family. You will ultimately always be responsible for it. You cannot give that responsibility away, no matter how hard you want to try. And your children, You send them off to school in a gun-free zone with no security. You just made the decision to put your children at risk. Is it the shooter's ultimate responsibility and fault? Absolutely. You can never take the fault away from the criminal. But the only person responsible for your children's well-being, no matter where they are, is you. So maybe you should give a little bit of thought about the safety protocols for where your child goes to school. And by safety protocols, I don't mean run and hide under a desk and wait to be shot. And number 3, what does it mean to support the thin blue line? All right, well, I support the thin blue line, I support legal law enforcement, and I support cops who care. On the flip side of that, cops like soldiers who take an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States and the freedoms that they are solely existing to protect are held to a much higher standard. So if your average douchebag communist on the streets says that they need to take your gun rights away or whatever, they're just your average douchebag communist on the street. If you have a police officer say the same thing, they deserve to be lynched. They are the lowest form of life on earth, and they need to be eradicated because they swore an oath to uphold and defend something that they don't give a piss about, and they are human trash. So you don't have to paint everybody with a broad brush stroke. The officers who acted at Waco, every single one of them should be ashamed of themselves and have PTSD, not from the actual trauma from what they experienced, but from the guilt that they have for being such a piece of dirt. Same with Ruby Ridge. I can, in perfect conscience, say that and still say that I support the thin blue line because I'm not retarded, and I realize that all people are different. So, Shane Doyle, running for election right now. I believe that he holds the Constitution in high importance in his heart and works his best to support and uphold that while doing his job. I would have him in my home. I would have his family in my home for dinner with no second thoughts. And yet, if he decided to unzip his pants and take a piss on the Bill of Rights, he's gone because I hold him to a higher standard than anybody else, especially because he is a sheriff. So, whichever side of this you're on, I have friends on both sides. I have law enforcement friends and friends who are pro-law enforcement very strictly, and friends who are very anti-law enforcement very strictly and hate all pigs. Grow up, because picking a side is not using your brain, and there are going to be good and bad people everywhere. Nicholas, you are a piece of garbage and probably a prime example of the kind of blithering moron that I am currently discussing. So you should probably get fixed. Mato, what's up, buddy? So van life. Yesterday I posted a video about going down to Mammoth Cave. I think I figured out the secret fountain of youth, which is playtime. As adults, we don't take enough recess, we don't play, we don't have fun doing physical activities. We go from children and teens playing sports to adults sitting in an office and watching sports, and because of that, we drastically increase the speed of our own decline. So I've gone out and got myself a bicycle, and I'm going to start riding my bike in addition to my weightlifting regimen, and I think that it's really going to help me in my overall health. So that's what I've been up to besides working for Beach and Tactical like crazy. Forgot to mention, guys, this channel is supported by sales on my website of beachandtactical.com of products that I have made, that I have designed, and that I endorse. Also, the channel's directly sponsored by Patreon. The link is in the description box below, patreon.com/The Preppers Bunker Outdoors. And also, I am a brand ambassador for Grunt Style, where you can get some cool Patriot gear. That link will be in the description box. You click through my little link, I get a little proceed of the sales, and I'll give you a 10% off coupon. So, that's what's up. Yeah, the C-O-M word is most certainly my trigger. Red Gat, glad to have you, buddy. Philo, hello. So, van life, I should only have one product that is still marked as sold out, and I just got that product restocked today. It's my mini fire tin. It's fan-frickin-tastic. To try and actually make money on it, I had to buy 100 at a time. And people don't realize, like with business, how that hurts to put that big wad of cash on the table in hopes of slowly making profit over a long period of time. But they will not be out of stock for quite some time. So other than that, if anything else says that it's out of stock, since most of the stuff is made to order, that would be a problem. And so I will check it out, because that's not good. Joe, glad to have you, buddy. The cat, all right. The cat's name is Winchester. He's actually going to be going because you're a rude beast. Get down.
Jay.
What?
No.
Yeah, he's going because he's having issues. So the wife says no, but he's gone. He's as good as gone. But we're gonna find a good family member that wants him. Everybody wants the cat because he's great, but he's having some issues. So, anyways, that is the cat. Mr. Nava, glad to have you. So, this bike, guys, I bought this bike used. I feel like most of us did something that we played and enjoyed as a kid. I bought this bike used. It's made in America. Buying anything that is quality, doesn't matter what we're talking about, is incredibly expensive nowadays. This bike new would have cost me about $2,500. That's an insane amount of money. You are just the rudest beast. You're back. Get out of here. Go bother your mom. That's a lot of money, guys, but you start to realize when you start producing or using a product, their true value, and worth every penny. We're going to be getting the wife a bicycle. But what I was alluding to is, as adults, we become quite stagnant typically. And we always talk about how we fall apart so much quicker, how we get sore, how we don't recover as quickly. But look at all of the things that you did as a kid. You might have gone to football practice, but you're also doing something before school. You're doing all of this stuff. You condition your body to accept that, and of course you recover much more quickly. And then we become adults, and that stops. So, but when you were kids, we think of kids as recovering more quickly. But if you knew the kid who was always reading, playing Dungeons and Dragons, or playing video games, or whatever the case may be, and who was never going outside and playing, then at recess, if he's your friend and you want to go play with him, he's always getting hurt. And it's for the exact same reason, guys. We as people have grown into this society where we can afford to be stagnant, but it is killing us. So, and the hardest thing, like, I'm not a personally motivated person, especially for cardio. Just go. So I'd like to say that I go out and do these runs, but I don't. And it's bad because I'm a good runner. But if I can go out on this bicycle and spend 3 to 4 hours just dripping in sweat, breathing hard, and having a good time, I'm not going to be able to match that kind of exercise by forcing myself to run. So this is what's important to me. What's important to everybody else might be something completely different. So I think as a prepper, it's really hard to find that thing. And obviously, as you get older, yes, physically you will not recover as quickly or be as competitive. There is a point where you hit that downhill slope, but I don't think it's where everybody says it is. You know, I think that you can be 40 years old and be extremely active all the time and not feel like you do anything and you're broken for a week. So, yeah, that's my little grain of something for that. Joe, and that's the thing, man, having fun while you're getting into shape. So I like lifting pretty well, but I do a whole lot better when lifting if I have a lifting partner, which I haven't had in a long time. And so I felt my gains just, instead of when I was lifting, I didn't feel like I was getting better anymore. I felt like I was slowing my decline. And so I need to get a workout partner for that. But with the bicycle, I can have fun doing it even more than I have lifting. And so I think that's really important. This bike here is a Black Market Bikes Edit 1. So it's a dirt jumper, 1 gear, 26-inch tires. It's light as a feather. I swear it's got to be lighter than a BMX bike. It's got to be at or under 30 pounds. Which I know a 30-pound BMX bike's pretty heavy, but it's phenomenal. Disc brakes and basically all American hardware, almost front to back besides the wheels. So I was really happy about that. It's hard to find, especially at a good price. So I just uploaded a video, guys, from yesterday going to the Mega Caverns in Louisville. You can watch that. No, I'm not a good rider. I used to be a lot better and a lot more confident, and I just got this bike like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've gone on kind of some exercise rides and a couple like around town thrashes, but that Mega Cavern trip was my first ride to some dirt jumps, and man, I did terrible. So, but I had a lot of fun being terrible, and I got a good workout, so that's why I went. Yeah, and hiking is good. See, my problem is like I have a hard time hiking without a objective. So I enjoy hiking if I'm trying to get somewhere, to get to camp, to hunt, to do a video. But I personally loathe just walking to walk. I just don't like it. That's just not the way I'm wired. There always has to be an objective. So that's where the bike comes in. But I'm pretty jealous of the people that just enjoy going out and running and just enjoying going out hiking or whatever the case may be. Outdoors Life asks if I'm planning to put together another family survival weekend. Absolutely. I want to do a bug out trip with Mariah and maybe the dogs, or at least one of the dogs. But I also want to get some Christian families together again, and I was supposed to do it this winter with my buddy Bushcraft to Survive and his family and his family friends, and it didn't happen. I owe a lot of people camping trips right now. My buddy Zach, I've got to get up to Ohio and camp with him. I need to get up to Lexington and camp with my buddy Chris, and I will be checking out Triple J Knife Works and doing a tour of his facility. Hopefully he'll show us some awesome stuff. And with business, I'm really busy with wholesale orders right now, and I'm really busy with private orders. So it's just been harder to schedule stuff. Thank the Lord, because I really need business. Um, Matoluta, I'm not showing that my feed has stopped at all. So if your feed stopped, it might be on your end, but who knows. Joe, that sounds awesome, man. Scenery is a big deal. My problem is I get used to almost any scenery very quickly. So I live in one of the most beautiful places, one of the most beautiful places that I've ever lived, with cliffs and caves and waterfalls everywhere. And I just don't appreciate it like I should. And I'm sure I'll lose it at some point, and I'll look back and regret not appreciating it more. But yeah, beautiful scenery definitely helps people get out. Prepper books. Can I recommend any prepper books? Or not books about prepping, but crap at the fan type books that I enjoyed. To be honest, I don't really read like I should. I really should be reading, and I'm a good reader, which is why I say I should be reading. And before I got married, that was actually my biggest pastime. During the Army, we did PT in the morning, and then I would go directly to breakfast, and then I would read until I had to go to the next formation, and then for lunch I'd go directly to lunch, and then read, and then after work we'd go straight to the gym, go to dinner, and then I'd read until I was ready to call Mariah or whatever and go to bed. And so I mostly read fiction, actually. I was really into Game of Thrones, and after Game of Thrones, I actually read the whole series, I think at least twice. I started trying to read some other fantasy stuff, and it was mostly trash, mostly garbage. Was not getting my quality fiction fix after that. But once I got married, I've really stopped reading. So I have a few books, and I can't say that I recommend them because I haven't read them, to be honest. I've got new books on the shelf. So I wish I could help you more on that. That's probably one of my biggest things is I don't read enough. Anyways, so we've had quite a bit go on in the last week with this school shooting, and as usual, a lot of stuff doesn't line up with that. If you guys have any questions about that specifically, you can feel free to ask. Outdoors Life asked if I have a Yellow Hawk custom Kydex sheath for my SECR 2.5. I actually should have it on my side right now, but I don't. But yes, with the SECR 2.5, which is one of my EDC knives, it is in a Yellow Hawk custom Kydex sheath, and I 100% love it. And it's getting more and more of my carry time because not only do I love the knife, but the knife sheath combo. It's just phenomenal. It's not even that other people are bad or anything else. It's the sheath is so good and the knife is so good and they ride just perfect. And so it's getting more and more of my EDC rotation time. I am planning on doing a review on that fairly soon. And I finally figured out what I want to do for the review, and I think it's going to be pretty good. So yeah, that is a product that I can 100% get behind. Is both the SECR 2.5 and the Yellow Hawk Custom Kydex sheath. I've got another Yellow Hawk Custom Kydex sheath in the works right now. And there are other Kydexers that I like, but Doug is my favorite, Yellow Hawk Custom Kydex. And his website is yellowhawkcustomkydex.com. And I don't even know how I first got started with Doug. I think I got a piece of crap knife that I really did not really like, but it came in a Yellow Hawk Custom Kydex sheath. loved the sheath, basically bought the knife for the sheath. And I just couldn't believe that a knife that I really didn't like came with such a nice sheath. And so I looked into Doug, and that's how it started. So, anyways, well, guys, I'll give you guys a little bit more time. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll get ready to kind of wrap it up for today. You might be able to tell I'm a little bit tired. I was going to do this video outside like I usually do with a fire, and then the thunderstorm hit, basically. And I still wanted to do the video, but with my phone and microphone, I don't think it would end up good. I think the sound quality and audio quality would end up being just terrible. So I don't like doing videos in here. But, I'm a little bit slow from that ride yesterday. And on the drive home, I had like one of those big monsters, and I shared some with Mariah, and then we couldn't get to sleep last night. So we were like exhausted, our whole bodies hurt, and we're like staring at the ceiling until like midnight. And then we got up early, obviously, to work. So I'm kind of dragging an anchor today, guys. Pretty bad. I had to fight with Adobe all day, and of course all of their customer service is in India, and they don't speak very good English. And I was put on hold for an hour and 40. So, anyways, tired today. No, so the Essie, the Scrama, the Dark Timber Kodiak, and the Becker BK20 final comparison video will be this week. It's not going to be as big of a scientific video. It's going to be more kind of opinion based. I'm going to talk to you about handle comfort and handle geometry and edge geometry and stuff like that. But those things are often so subjective that it's hard for you to really score them or whatever. So it's going to really be a recap with a few extra points of things that need to be talked about for each blade, sheath included. So that will be coming this week. Also, planning on this week doing the final chopping video of the MSK1 from David Ultimate Survival Tips. He decided right after I told the world about this silliness of his claims of his knife to do a video where he's chopping frozen, like perfectly dried sawn pieces of firewood as a hatchet, saying, "Oh, I forgot my hatchet today, no big deal." He's playing ninja music in the background, and at one point he hits the wood and it perfectly splits where he didn't even hit it. It's the most purposefully deceitful. He talks about how I shouldn't call him out. It's not very Christian to do so. It is the most purposeful, deceitful thing, specifically designed by him to mislead people to steal their money. At that point, that's what this is. This is an absolute dirtbag, and since we've decided to go down this road with him, I'm going to let everybody know exactly where I stand on that, because he is a wolf that is preying on the survival and prepping community. So sticking up for him or saying nothing about him would not be keeping the community together. It would be keeping a wolf within the community. That's how the community dies. The wolves need to be called out and kicked out. So that's what I'm going to do. So that should be coming up this week. Also, I'm going to be doing a video on Paul LaRocca's work. One of my EDC knives is from Paul LaRocca. He makes phenomenal stuff. And I'm borrowing one of his bigger blades as well. And so what I'm going to do, Lord willing, this week is walk you guys through his work, which I'm a huge, huge fan of. The biggest problem with me on YouTube, you guys might be noticing I'm coming out with a little bit less content, is the new video editor is just kicking the piss out of me. And doing a video that maybe used to take me 45 minutes is now taking me 2.5, 3.5 hours. And I hate it. Man, I hate it so much. So it's really been hard for me to get back on the ball, and I just need to get back into it. So, yeah, I just got that. New products at Beach and Tactical. I've got a new rifle sling that I'm prototyping, and I think I actually need to send that out to my buddy in California here shortly. I'm working on a knife project also in California as we speak. And I have something else going on with Beach and Tactical that I can't remember, but I have the new sear pouches. I need to update that link on beachandtactical.com. You send a bunch of those out, and those are just, I'm really hoping those fly off the shelves. Gonna be a little expensive compared to what people are used to paying for Condor pouches and stuff, but for an American-made pouch, I think that they're a great deal. And I'm a little biased because I designed them, but I think the design is unique and is freaking fantastic. And I think it's going to be exactly what everybody in the bushcraft community is looking for. They just don't know it yet. So hopefully that will be hitting everywhere very soon. What's up, Mr. Luca? Yeah, Mato. Well, you know, Dave can advertise this knife however he wants, as most people can, because nobody's ever going to use it that much. And the people that do use it a lot, they might go and put it in a drawer or resell it. But if someone gets into a survival trip and dies, nobody's going to hold the dude that made the knife accountable. And if they're like, hey, I was in a survival situation with this knife and it sucked, the word's not going to get out. So that's part of what's the problem with the market today is there's no accountability, and I hope to fix that myself. Lord willing, I can start a trend where more people are getting out, learning about what to look for in a knife, learning about what actually makes the knife good beyond what they can see and feel, how to put it into words, and what to look at to see where that performance is coming from. Hopefully I can help them to do that, to better educate the community and get these wolves out. But that is why he's able to do it. A solid hatchet. I 100% stand behind Council Tool. Their budget or working line of hatchets often need a little bit of edge reprofiling. You can beautify them. You can strip the paint off of them. You can fancy up the handles, doll them up, whatever the case may be, because they're not quite as pretty as the Chinese junk you're used to seeing in Home Depot, where everything is literally perfect, but they are forged in America. You put an edge on there and the quality is there. The premium lines, the Velvet Cut and Woodcraft line, are awesome. I prefer them over Gransford Brooks, no question, on every level. Every level. Dollar for dollar. And they're about to be coming out with some new stuff, including the Camp Carver, which I'm very excited about. And Essie is also coming out with a carving hatchet. That's going to be a little bit more detailed. That's going to be a little bit less versatile. It's I haven't used it. I think it's going to be a more job-specific axe as a carver, but we'll see. Water bottle holder. I need to finish that up. I lost a little bit of steam. I was kind of hoping that somebody, we agreed to trade products, and I was going to do the final touches on my water bottle holder, and then he just stopped contacting me. So I guess I need to push ahead without him. So I have a little bit more modifying to do on that design, just a tad. It's going to be hard without prototyping for exactly what I need, but that's almost ready for the market, and that's going to be exciting. Yeah, the water bottle holders are not available yet, but I will be getting them out soon. A Molly axe sleeve that's not leather. Oh, Jeff, if you want a Molly axe sleeve that's not leather, if you haven't already, definitely check out Copperhead Outdoors. He is the Kydex man, and I'm sure that he does Molly. They're like hard Molly loops for him from Blade Tech. That's the only thing I can really think of right now. James Pablos, do I like condor knives? That's a very loaded question. I could probably do an entire video just on that alone. I think they are good knives for the quality. I recently had a guy commenting that they are indestructible and this and that and the other thing. They're not, guys. It was actually my SE breakage video. He was like, what's an overpriced piece of crap that failed? Not like a Condor or Hudson Bay that's $50. The Condor knives are thicker behind the edge. A thicker edge will be stronger, but they are convex. You can make them work. They are tough. I do think that a lot of them are great value for the money, but they do not have any magic about them, just like any other knife. I personally have found that I felt that the edges were a little thick and a little soft for my liking. And so in the past, so far, I have not been super impressed on a whole. Now, if a Condor is all you can afford for a big chopper or something, by all means, they are quality. You can make them work. I just, personally would like things to be a little bit different about them. Yeah, Joe, if in my opinion, if a hatchet is something that you use often, the best tool to invest money in and get a quality product out of, is the tool that you use most often. You will get more value out of your dollar that way. And so depending on what size hatchet you need, right now there's the Woodcraft Pack Axe. I have a few videos out on that in both the 19 and 24 inch handled versions. I love the 24-inch handled Pack Axe. I feel like they just hit some kind of axe nirvana with the 2-pound head, the edge geometry, the hardened pull, the look, and then the balance with the handle shape and length. It's phenomenal. If you're looking for something a little bit lighter, they've got a few other options, like the Hudson Bay Belt Axe. I'm a big fan. There's the Saddle Axe, which is just Nessmuck coolness, but that camp carver is coming out. It's just a little bit over 1.5 pounds with a, I think, a 17 or 21 inch handle. Again, a hardened pull, a flat ground edge like the Woodcraft Pack Axe. It looks so cool. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for it to come out. So that should be out, I think, around April. It might be worth waiting for if you really like hatchets. You see how you guys get me talking about gear, and I go from being tired and talking about politics to being all animated and excited. It's just the way I am. So, yeah, Super Kook and smaller Super Kook. I really, really, really want to get the Super Kook out as a mid-tech produced on the American freaking market. I cannot wait for that to happen. I might do a Kickstarter to get the first group of those off the ground. We will see. Right now, I'm just waiting for milling paths and looking at, I guess, whether I'm going to buy a ton of steel or not. I have to do some prototyping, some heat treat testing, possibly some steel testing, but I think we're going to try and shoot for ADCRV2. It's going to be good, guys. If I can get it off the ground, that's the hardest part. Oh, I remember. I'm going to do a video about my Patreon. So what I'm doing with my Patreon right now is the first $131 that I get, I'm going to buy 2 K-Bar Mark IIs. Beautiful knives, lots of history, very cool, undeniably cool. One of them I am going to put to the absolute test since it has a reputation as the greatest survival knife of all time. We are going to start with bushcraft and meal prep tasks, working our way all the way up into hardcore bushcraft and survival tasks. We will see exactly what it is good for and what it is not good for. And by doing so, if you rely on your K-bar, you will have a better idea of how to better use your K-bar by knowing what its limitations are. It will therefore be a helpful video series, not only for people who have already made the purchase, but for people who are considering the purchase. And it will be funded entirely by my patrons, by my supporters, by my viewers, and you will not have to worry about any kind of market bias, because I don't like that, and I can't see getting paid by manufacturers unless they want to pay me to get to Blade Show or SHOT Show. And then I'll, whatever, get me there. But that's what I'm doing on Patreon right now. That's kind of, one of them will give away, one of them will ultimately be destroyed. That's kind of how I want to run my Patreon. I would also like to get a new GoPro. For a lot of the things I do, having a GoPro sessions would be fan-freaking-tastic. But we'll just have to see how that goes. And I need to find a way to give back to my subscribers on Patreon more than just saying you have a chance at winning the knife that I'm going to be testing. I really want to hook you guys up. I just don't know how I'm going to do it. In the comments, guys, on this video eventually, let me know what you think the best way to reward patrons would be. Obviously, I can't spend more than someone gives, because then it would just be like a service where you give me money and then I give you more money. But I want there to be chances for everybody to get something, so whether it's patches, stickers, t-shirts, let me know what you guys think would be appropriate, at what level you should get rewards. Next question, bushcraft to survive. Which do you like more, the Victorinox or the Leatherman? There's huge benefits on both ends of the spectrum. To me, the biggest benefit of the Leatherman is the pliers. Oh my gosh, in a survival situation, the things that you can use pliers for. On the other hand, there's huge benefits to the Victorinox, depending on the model. I mean, you just get such a streamlined package, lightweight. I really, really like Victorinox's blades and stuff. So when I think of survival, I think of a realistic survival knife. I think of a vagabond or a hobo. He pops open his can opener, he's got a couple blades and screwdrivers. To me, that's minimalist, but it's perfect. If you've got to have those pliers, you've pretty much got to go with a Leatherman type multi-tool. I, so far in life, prefer Leatherman because I have not liked Gerber. So, from the ones I was issued while deployed and stuff, hated those things. And I got another one that I hate, that I found. But, so, you know, it's going to depend on the individual. I see the Victorinox being more minimalist and easier to hide, easier to carry, just an all-around working tool. So for me personally, I carry and use and really love a Victorinox. And I need to do a video soon on which one I love, because it's got a lock on the blade. And I didn't like it as much at first because the lock is kind of weird and it doesn't look as cool, but man, it is a sweet little package. So I've got to say, for me, for what I see myself doing, Victorinox. But really, if you get a good quality Leatherman or if you get a Victorinox, you're not going to go wrong. And probably everybody should have a Victorinox because they're cheap as dirt. You know, a little kid can go save up his quarters and go buy a Victorinox knife from Switzerland, and he can have it for the rest of his life. So, you know, just depends on you. Maybe the answer is both. Outdoors Life says that Gary Lawson of C2G Fab is doing a membership thing. I will certainly check that out because I do need, well, not only I might want to be a member, but I also need to look at someone who's doing it right to figure out how I need to do my own with Patreon. Yeah, and Victorinox does have multi-tools. I don't have any experience with them. I'm sure they're quality, but I can't say for sure. Red Gat, please do. I look forward to it. Mataluta, I do have a PayPal. I can get with you on that offline or whatever. I think that is linked to Patreon. I don't even know, to be honest. So I'll need to find a place to do patches. Rick, beach and tactical boonie hats. I love that. So what are you thinking? I like boonies. Are you thinking of like a little squirrel emblem being sewn on a boonie, or are you thinking of a patch on a boonie? Let me know because I love boonies. They're just cool. Joe, for my sister's Christmas, he said that he has a Swiss Army knife on his keychain. I got each of my younger sisters a Swiss Army knife in their favorite color. I think it was like $14 each. And now these little girls have knives on them everywhere they go. Not defensive knives, of course, but tools. Tools that take up zero weight, that you never know are there, and yet when you need it and pull it out, you have a razor sharp, awesome little implement. And I think that we're really spoiled to have those little Victorinox knives, to have all the almost all of them are under 20 bucks, except for the real big ones, or under 30. What a blessing on the market to have such high quality tools so cheap. It's crazy to me. Mato will do. The Zippo lighter. The Zippo lighter would be really cool. There's a couple problems. The biggest problem is I would want to do real Zippos. I wouldn't really want to do knockoff Zippos. If I could help it, a production cost would be so high that if I was going to give that away for Patreon supporters, it would have to be big patrons. And if I got to the point where I was getting patrons that were that big, that's certainly something I could consider. The other issue is that kind of as a survival tool, the Zippo has quite a few downfalls. So that could be something to be cool to consider, and I wish that there was an American alternative, even if it was made by Zippo, that kind of solved some of those downfalls, because I love supporting American brands that are selling American products, especially iconic ones. So I think Red Gat, I would highly appreciate that, hooking me up with some patch makers. I think Victorinox might have been my first knife as a kid. Or it might have been a really small Leatherman where instead of pliers, it had scissors. And I remember when me and my younger brother got these little Leathermans, and we got them at Costco. And driving on the way home, my younger brother, Jeremiah, who just got out of the Army, was playing with it, and they're like, don't play with your knife, don't do stupid stuff with your knife. He starts cutting his hands. Looking over like, dude, you're bleeding. What are you doing? Derp, 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 derp. So he lost his knife privileges for quite some time. Never understood that. Never had a moment like that myself, but it is what it is. That might not have been my first knife. Alright guys, well, it has been 42 minutes. I brought the rifle here just to once again show off this Duracoat finish. Was done by Mon Tactical, And Last Stand Customs, this camo pattern is called Riptile Sabertooth. This is done by my buddy James Bialzak. He is in Montana, I believe, doing production again. He is an FFL. You can ship him your stuff, and he will do you a good camo job. And of course, Beach and Tactical Speed Sling. I was supposed to get Riptile Sabertooth webbing, but the webbing manufacturer, I guess, is playing games with people, like James specifically. So it's probably not going to happen, which is a massive bummer because I was so excited about having Riptile Sabertooth slings. Mr. Nava, I'll let you know via email. I'm a good ways out, but I will let you know. So, okay, this rifle is made by DPMS. This is the G2 Recon. So, DPMS did some things that are different with the G2 series rifle than previous 308 ARs, and that is they basically redesigned everything. So you've got a bolt carrier that is monolithic, and what that means is typically on an AR rifle, this top piece right here, which is the gas key, is held on by two bolts on the back that are bolted on and staked in place. Well, if that gets a little loose, a little screwed up, if your staking isn't good, whatever the case may be, you can break stuff, stuff goes wrong, whatever. This is one solid piece. It's not going anywhere. You've got dual ejectors. This is a 5.56 size BCG for a 308. And so this 308 weighs, without ammo, about the same as a 5.56 AR. It's essentially the same size, and for a Freedom rifle, talk about phenomenal. I mean, what a good piece of gear. So I keep it around the house along with Gadsden Tactical or Gadsden Dynamics belt full of magazines, in case, you know, who knows, maybe Sheriff Doyle calls me and is like, hey, we're being shot at and nobody's coming, you know, come shoot these guys. I don't know. Maybe somebody drives up and is like, hey, let's do Patriot stuff, and I'm like, it is Patriot 30. Who knows? So that's the house gun, along with the rest of the house guns. So, the brake, yeah, the Midwest Industries 2-chamber brake, guys. Midwest Industries is so awesome, and I've got to start doing videos on their stuff. For some reason, gun videos are so hard for me, but I've got to start doing them. Oh, no, this one isn't Surefire. This is the Midwest Industries 2-chamber brake. As far as the bark, I don't remember it being that bad. I mean, it is a compensator. You do have blast up the sides, but 308's not that bad anyways. It doesn't have that high pitch of the 5.56 that just rings in your ears for the rest of your life, especially when you're trying to sleep. So, I don't know, not too bad. Yeah, it's 308, man. So, you said Surefire. I got, this is the Surefire Tactician. I got a little bit off topic here because you were talking about that and I was thinking this the whole time, but this is the Tactician. And it's push, go, release, no go, 800 lumens. I love it. So I carry that every day, finally. Yes, pretty light for a 308. I think this rifle, if memory serves, without optics or ammo, is like 7.5 pounds. Pretty sure. It's light. It's like a 5.56 AR. Now with the standard AAC brake, if you aren't doing your part, it'd slap you around a little bit. It was so funny, in one of my training classes, the long story short, the instructor shot a couple rounds out of our rifles for grouping, and my instructor forgot that it was a 308 every time. Boom! And his group was just terrible, and it was pretty funny. But it's easy to forget, man. I mean, it's a 5.56 size, 5.56 weight rifle in a proper caliber. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's also like half of my life value in a rifle. So, yes, indeed. Well, guys, you got me all excited, and I'm glad that you did, because I enjoy talking gear. As always, if you guys have ideas for this channel, please let me know. If you have a way that you would like me to show a gun and do a gun review, let me know. I need to do gun reviews, and I have so much that I know that I would love to share with you. And the gun industry has just as many, if not more, wolves that are prowling the gun community. Crap, I spent a good portion of my day talking to someone whose argument was that at 25 yards, a 22 long rifle was equally as lethal as a 50 BMG, neither one of them being more lethal. Blatant ignorance to the point of stupidity because of an absolute lack of experience that is contrasted with a desire for to make other people think you know what you're talking about, have come together to create this toxic community of morons. And I'd like to help you. Not everybody can get first-hand experience, but if I can explain to you the right direction to think for yourself, and you can go off in the right direction. I'm not going to tell you what to think, but if I can explain things in a way that is realistic to you to make you think realistically about things, in contrast to the intellectual vomit that has been spewed all over the gun community right now, I'd love to do that. I have an obligation and a responsibility to do that, and I'm letting that down. So, Bushcraft to Survive, thank you. I need to get over to your place soon. We can do some gun stuff, and let me know when you get your knife in the mail. Joe, 17 HMR is a very cool, very, very cool cartridge. I'd love to have one myself. And on that note, I'm going to call it a night, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to talk to you next time. It is a true pleasure having you guys to talk to. Have a blessed night.